Welcome everybody. So we are going to learn IFS functions today. This is the easiest version of IF functions. We saw nested ifs in learning if functions. If you have multiple conditions on the same column, you would tend to use nested ifs, if inside if inside if. So there's an alternative for this where we used IFS directly. It is much simpler to write and read as well. For this again, I'm leaving you with this sheet in the chat. You can download this file, answer the basic ifs, and for the last column, you can create a new column for grade 2 and use for these conditions IFS function. I'll show using my Excel. So I'm creating a new column called grade, just like grade 2, just to show you that it results in the same answers. Here I have used nested ifs if you observe. If inside, if inside, if inside, if inside, and so on. The condition was like if these scores are greater than 80, give A, otherwise give B, C, D if it is falling between 50 to 59. Else we would put it as E grade, right? So this one we will be doing using IFS function. So again, as you type the function name IFS, it's available in the latest versions. It checks whether one or more conditions are met. For every relative functions, gives you true value only. So let's start with if. It's first only asking what is the logical test. My logical test would be this cell D2, is it greater than or equal to 80? If it is so, I'm asked to give what is the true value. The true value I'll take it as A. Done. Now instead of giving false value, this IFS is used for nested functions only, right? So directly it's asking for next logic. Instead of typing in the same line, what I'll do is I'll use Alt key and enter so that I get more space to type. Okay. Now I don't have to type if function again. Directly I can ask the second condition. If it is greater than or equal to 70, I just give B as the true value, comma, Alt enter. Again check if it is greater than or equal to 60. I give C value. Again taking no need to put it as alt enter all the time, just that I want to write it in multiple lines, so I'm using alt enter. So I'm checking if it is greater than 50. If so, I'll give D grade. Now you can use two tricks. Either you can set D2 less than 50 and give D2 less than 50 and give the value as E, that is last grade. So you can see it is so simplified. If it is greater than 80 A grade, greater than 70 B grade, greater than 60 C grade, greater than 50 D grade. After this, I could have used one more line. If it is not so, we'll give E grade. This can also be written in another way. Let me show that. This time I'm using again IFS. I'll test this cell, same. Instead of D2, I'm taking D3, corresponding cell. Asking if it is greater than 80, I'll give A. Else I can check D2 greater than or equal to 70, I'll give B. D2 greater than or equal to 60, I'll give C. D2 greater than or equal to 50, we'll give D grade. Now you can ask D2 less than 50. It's obviously understood. So for any other result, you could also type true. True means other than all these conditions, or all these conditions fails, then I want to consider that to be E grade. So you can see it has come as B. Let me display the formula for you in both the cases. This I want you to learn both of this. So D2, 80, D2, 70, 60, 50, all are same. Only the last condition, if you want, you can specify D2 less than 50, or you can also say true E, means the remaining true. Other than all these conditions, if anything else happen, true, then we'll give E. So this, if you drag it down, you can see we're getting answers. For example, we'll pick Rayan's. Rayan's test score is 74. So slight variation. I have to modify it. Sorry for that. D2 I'm taking, it should be D3, D3 only, D3. Okay. Yeah. I just considered this value should be. So it's always good to check the boundaries like I did. Range is B actually. So the test score is 74. 74 is in this logic. D3 greater than or equal to 70. So B is the answer. Let's look at Krish. Krish value is 32. 32 is definitely not true of all these things. So we're taking the last possible true and giving E, which is less than 50. Okay, hope you understood this. Try it out yourself. Let's see some definitions. So whenever you have multiple ifs, we'll use this IFS functions. It evaluates conditions in order, checks whether each condition and returns a value based on the first true condition it finds. Out of so many conditions in the order, whichever comes true, it will give the true value. There is no false value for all the conditions. This is much cleaner than nested if, because nested ifs you'll have to remember how many brackets, what conditions to use, and so on. In the versions beyond 2019, after 2019, you can find these IFS functions. It's as simple as this. It has got arguments like condition. There can be a number of conditions, condition 1, 2, 3. Whenever condition satisfies, we'll give you corresponding value. Condition 1, if it is true, it will give value 1. If condition 2 is true, it will give value 2, and so on. As I mentioned, the last condition you don't have to mention. You can take true, which is the alternate result. For that, you can specify any value. And it's better to include true at the end, last logic. Okay. So you can see if it is greater than 80 A, greater than 70 B, greater than 60 C. Otherwise, you can give some other grade. So this otherwise checks anything. So you can see one good example here. Here what I am showing is math, physics, chemistry, 3 subjects. All should be greater than 60. That's the condition. All these should be greater than 60. So math is also greater than 60. Physics is also greater than 60. Chemistry also greater than 60. Then the result is pass. Otherwise, else, otherwise it's fail. So you could use complex if here. Instead of that, you could also use IFS function. We are checking first condition. If it is this, fail. If it is physics fail less than 60, then also fail. And chemistry is less than 60, then also fail. So these are 3 conditions. If you say no for all this, then the last option is it could be greater than 60 in all the cases. So that is taken as fourth condition as true. Anything that happens other than this fail, you can put it as pass. This is the easiest way to write your complex if here. Okay, you can see one more example. If somebody has crossed 3000 days tenure, you will say permanent between 2 to 3000 it's qualified, otherwise 500 to 1999 is probationary. So in only three conditions it is showing. One condition permanent, second condition qualified, third condition probationary. Here we are not using true value, so it might end up by chance if somebody is having less than 500. If E4 results are less than 500, you might get an error, value error, okay, not available. So that's the reason we should always include true. True should be included if you don't want to see value error. So that becomes one learning here. So order, starting from the first, it will start keep looking for true logics. Wherever true logics appears, it will stop and it will print the value, true value suggested. And as I mentioned, add true as default at the end. This helps you to write clearer logics. What, like when this happens, what to do, when this happens, what to do, like that. It's like a case in your SQL. After writing your problems and getting the solutions for many, always do a test case. Check some random numbers in the above or below or in between and check if it is correct. Once you confidently feel everything is correct, then you deploy it. Okay, as I said, common array can be NA if you don't use this true at the end. So it's always better to use true as a fallback. Okay, keeping in that mind, you might have seen that IFS makes it much easier compared to your nested ifs. If you liked it, go ahead and try it on your own on this column from the sheet that I've given. You can download that directly to your laptops. Happy learning.